How are you? Oh, come on. I am the last talk of today. How are you? Yes, thank you. I need all your energy because I am very, very excited to be here with you all to talk about the design renaissance. I'm Reginé Gilbert, a James Weldon Johnson professor at New York University. All right, so the design renaissance. What I'm going to talk about today is renaissance through the years, the role of designers in an AI-driven world, embracing generative AI, and the power of play. Can I just ask you all to do something real quick, because you have been sitting. Can everybody just stand and stretch just real quick, because I see y'all sitting just real quick. Thank you. All right. Because I was like, people are yawning. Okay, all right, let's sit down. So I have a story for you all. Back in 2017, I was a lead UX designer, and I got laid off from my job, something a lot of people can relate to. I was feeling angry, uninspired, unmotivated, and a friend of mine said, why don't you play? Why don't you sketch? Why don't you draw? And so I did. And without realizing it, I kind of had my own design renaissance. A renaissance is a time of rebirth, renewal, new ideas, creativity. And I'm going to show you all my sketch, because I'm not ashamed. I believe everybody can draw. So, my sketch. It says doodles at the top. There's 3 boxes. It says AI, AR, VR. This points to users. Underneath that, I have platforms, Google Home, Echo, mobile, smartwatch, smart jewelry, smart glasses, VR headset, smart TVs, Raspberry Pi. Underneath that, it says usability, problems, goals, business needs, goals again, and a bunch of question marks. And I wrote, where are we going and what problems are we solving? Without realizing it, I had no idea that my life would actually turn into this work. So I went on from being without a job to being a senior manager of UX, having my own consulting company, becoming a professor, and being up here with you all today on the stage. And I think some of my students are in here today, so hello to you all. Yes, Basu's somewhere, I think, in here. Okay, so I want to talk to you about Renaissance through the years. I'm going to talk about the most important Renaissance to me in the last couple years, which is, yes! Anybody notice the mono font I used? Okay, so this is the Renaissance World Tour, Beyonce's World Tour. I got to see Beyonce in London last year. It was amazing. But there are also other Renaissance, right? The Italian Renaissance, which was artistic, humanistic, transformative time of rebirth. The Industrial Renaissance, technological, mechanized, revolutionary, and industrial. The Bauhaus movement, functional, minimalist, modernist, and innovative. The Harlem Renaissance was vibrant, cultural, artistic, and empowering. And what I think we're in now, the Design Renaissance, which is a time of evolution, collaboration, innovation, and transformation. Are you tired of hearing about AI? Yes? Some people are not. Okay, well, I went on Adobe Firefly and I asked, I put in the prompt, is AI tired of hearing about AI? And it gave me these 3 images, like a person looking down with skulls on the desk, I don't know either, and just a person looking bored, right? Which was very interesting. Then I went on ChatGPT and I asked if AI is tired of hearing about AI. And it says, as an AI, I don't experience emotions or fatigue. I don't get tired or bored of hearing about any topic, including AI itself. My purpose is to assist and provide information based on the queries and the tasks given. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So unlike us, who get tired, AI doesn't get tired of hearing about AI. And when we think of Renaissance and a time of renewal, I want to talk about the Italian Renaissance briefly. So the Renaissance saw significant advancements in astronomy, philosophy, writing, arts, right? Painting and sculpture. And a big part of that was Leonardo da Vinci, right? A lot of the sketches that we know of the human body came from Leonardo da Vinci, who was a multifaceted genius, right? And he envisioned early flying machines, all kinds of things, right? And he contributed so much to art, science, engineering, and demonstrated that we require creativity and deep thinking. So what's the role of designers in an AI-driven world? We literally hear about AI every single day, but what does it mean for us? I want to talk about how it can actually decrease our creativity, right? So relying solely on AI can diminish fundamental skills in designers because it bypasses the necessity for original creative thinking, which is crucial for innovation. AI tends to generate outputs based on pre-existing data, leading to similar results that lack the unique touch and diversity stemming from human creativity. So without mental engagement in the creative process, designers risk becoming passive in their practice. Ultimately, the overuse of AI can lead to stagnation in creative growth, making it essential for designers to balance AI use with active, hands-on creativity. How many of you have a practice that's creative that's not on a computer? Like half of you. Okay, more of you should probably do something. Okay, so I want to talk about what AI can do. If you watched the keynote earlier, we saw some awesome stuff that's happening with Figma and AI. So AI can streamline design tasks like resizing images, generating color palettes, and creating layouts, right? It can analyze user data to provide insights and act as a brainstorming partner for designers. AI can also help create content and tailor user experiences for personalized interactions. So what can we do that AI can't? So last year, I was working on a book that'll be coming out next year called Human Spatial Computing. And I had 4 researchers working for me last summer, and they were reading the book. And one of them read a chapter, and she said, I think it's good, but I feel like I could just learn this on ChatGPT. I was like, okay, fair. So that made me start thinking differently as an educator, as somebody who does workshops with professionals, as a human being. Like, what can I do that AI can't? And I've taken that with me with the workshops that I've done and the classes that I've taught since. So, emotions and humor. So emotion and humor in design can forge strong connections, foster positive associations, and create memorable experiences for the audience. Ethical judgment. Ethics require context always, but ethical judgment and the maintenance of creative practices are essential to ensure responsible, sustainable designs and fresh, innovative perspectives. And balancing technology and creativity, right? So continually integrating new methods to keep designs current, innovative, and human-centered. So this is what we can do that AI can't. Emotion and design. Any fans of The Wire? Okay, so this is a 404 page. 404 page is when you get an error. And there's a photo of Clay from The Wire, who often said, time. Okay, so to me, this is a very funny 404 page. It says sheet, there's a photo of clay, there's a 4, there's a peach emoji that's supposed to be a 0, and the font is very tiny, but it says, looks like that page ain't here. For some people, this is funny. For me, this is funny. So I asked Dolly to create a funny page for me. And this is what it created. So it's a robot. It says 404, page not found. There's a sun with a sad face on it. Is this funny? Yes? It's cute, right? So it's just a big difference. So again, thinking about the times and the changes and Renaissance, I want to next move to the Bauhaus movement. Is anybody familiar? Yes, okay, fans. All right, so the Bauhaus movement was a significant transformation in design principles and practices. It helped to unify art, craft, and technology, breaking down the barriers between fine arts and applied arts. And here I have an image of a building. It was had significant impact on architecture with a lot of clean, straight lines and bold colors. I like to tie the Bauhaus movement to inclusion and accessibility. So I am the author of Inclusive Design for a Digital World. I wrote that book 5 years ago. I'm doing a second edition now. And it's important. So the Bauhaus movement emphasized functionality, simplicity, and user-centric design, principles that are foundational to creating accessible and inclusive environments. Bauhaus designers aim to make everyday objects and spaces more usable and efficient for everyone, which aligns with modern efforts to ensure accessibility and inclusion in design. So yesterday, I was asked, what is something I think designers don't think maybe is important? And I think it's simplicity. I think people think if something is simple, then it's not good. But that's not true. And I think I gave the example of Craigslist as a great example of something that's simple and still valuable. So I can't go on without talking about ethics. How many in here are fans of ethics? I would hope so. So with AI, we have a lot of ethical considerations, right? So data privacy, right? Algorithmic bias, and social implications, as we've seen. So what steps can we take to make designs more ethical? First and foremost, data privacy. So we can stick to strict data privacy protocols and avoid using sensitive user info in AI models to keep everything safe and ethical. Secondly, understanding bias. First and foremost, understand your own. I think this is key for people who don't. Go and take the test. It's free to understand your bias. Get involved in training sessions on bias and always try to include diverse perspectives in your designs. Lastly, and this is most important, never stop learning. Never stop learning, right? So keep up with AI ethics by attending workshops and reading up, and push for transparency in AI practices at work. I know a lot of folks work in corporations and you don't want to say anything, but you know what you can do? You can ask questions. You can ask questions, right? You may not want to come out but you can always ask a question. So Garrett Morgan was the inventor of our modern day traffic signal. Could you imagine a world without traffic signals? Just for a second, think about it. Yeah. So back in the day, like in the 20s, traffic signals were just a stop and a go, right? They weren't what we know of today. So when I think about like the industrial renaissance in that time, I think about people who were solving problems, right? And so I love using like ChatGPT and DALL-E. So I asked DALL-E to create an image of Garrett Morgan, who was driving around Cleveland and was like, this is a mess, and decided to come up with a traffic signal. So this is what it came up with. Does anybody know what Garrett Morgan actually looks like? Can you take a guess? Because this is a white man. And this is Garrett Morgan. Right? So I was like, I literally was laughing for 5 minutes because I couldn't believe it. And then I typed in, Garrett Morgan is black. Okay? Just like that. And ChatGPT said, I apologize for the oversight. Let's create an image that accurately represents Garrett Morgan. And so it created this. Not quite there, but you know, it's something. So although AI is helpful, we don't fully know the extent of the data sets being used. You still need to do your own research, but it still makes for a creative partner. So I think we need to embrace generative AI. At least I had to. This past semester, I polled my design students and asked them, how many of you are using generative AI? All of them. How often are you using it? Every day. So my students get the pleasure of working on a project. So if you think about an eclipse, how do you experience an eclipse if you can't see it? Yeah, this is a fun project my students get to work on. We get to work on this NASA Eclipse Soundscape Citizen Project, award number 80NSSC21M008, required for me to say that. So my students get to work on the UX UI to help folks in the blind and low vision communities experience an eclipse through sound. So people will get sound, they got sound recorders during the previous 2 eclipses that we had. That gets uploaded, and my students help design that site. Sometimes they take our advice, sometimes they don't. That's how it goes with clients. So this past semester, I actually required my students to incorporate AI into their research plans because they were using it anyway, and so I was gonna go with the flow. So they used it to help them with preparing questions. They used Figma's Beta AI for user flows, but it couldn't help them with things like learning how to use a screen reader. That I had to bring in a real person, right, who was blind, with lived experience, to teach them how to use a screen reader. And when I think about sounds, I think about, as I move into the next Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance. So a lot of great music and other things came out of the Harlem Renaissance. Here I have an image of Harlem in the 20s and a bunch of kids playing. The Harlem Renaissance was a vibrant cultural movement that highlighted the diverse talents and perspectives of African American artists, writers, and musicians. This period had a significant impact on American culture, empowering African American expression and leaving a lasting legacy in literature, music, and art. This leads me to the power of play. Now, I get to teach fun things like the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Okay, yay. Yay to my accessibility people. But doing a lecture on it is not as impactful as people playing with Legos. So what I did was I gave prompts to my students, and they used different shapes and textures to represent text and images for perceivability, created navigable elements for operability, Design logical layouts for understandability and ensured robustness by making structures modifiable and supportive of additional elements. So this helped. So I want us to embark on a 1-minute creative adventure. Can we do that? Okay, cool. So imagine you have a magical paintbrush that can paint with colors, sounds, smells, and even tastes. Your canvas is a portal to another world. So you can close your eyes or keep them open. I want everybody to do this, right? Just put down your phone, you can do 1 minute. Okay, so maybe it's a jungle with singing trees, a city made of candy, or a beach where the waves play music. If you can't see images in your mind, think about the story your world tells and the sensation it evokes. Ready? Close your eyes or keep them open, but imagine a world. It's just 1 minute of your life. Okay, I think that was a minute. All right, so every single person in this room thought of something different. Every single person online who's watching this thought of something different. That is what we can do that AI can't. So I don't know what the future of design and AI is like, but I want you to think about this. Think of AI as an advanced coffee machine in the world of design. While it can brew the perfect cup, it can't replicate the barista's flair for creativity, the human touch, and the unique blend of flavors only you can create. Just as every coffee is a remix of beans, water, and technique, your designs remix past inspirations and innovations, using AI as a tool. The Industrial Revolution brought new coffee-making technologies, but it took skilled baristas to transform them into delightful experiences, despite the risks of over-reliance on machines. As designers, your role is to blend AI's precision with your creative touch to craft ethical, practical, and innovative solutions, and don't forget to make them inclusive and accessible, please. So much like the Bauhaus movement's seamless integration of art, craft, and technology in the coffee world. And don't forget, context matters for any scenario that you're doing. One of the things I started doing in 2020 was warm-ups, because I like to work out and I always warm up. If you use ChatGPT, I created a chatbot for designer warm-ups. You can use the QR code here if you have it on your phone. And if you don't, you can go to https://bit.ly/designer warm up. I want to leave you with this quote from my dear friend Eric Talbert, who is in the audience. Where are you at, Eric? Woohoo, thank you. All right, he said, "Our rigidity is a direct response to our insecurity. You take that as you wish, but we have an opportunity to have the design renaissance. It starts with us." And with that, I want to thank you for your time.